Hi everyone, Jesse here with eTrailer. Today we'll be taking a look at and I'll show you how to install the Curt Trailer Wiring Kit on our 2020 Lexus RX 450h. Trailer wiring is just one of those things that's absolutely essential if you plan on doing any kind of towing with your vehicle. Also, I'm seeing a lot of more accessories that have lights on them, and you'll need a 4-pole connector like this to make those work. When you're hooked up to a trailer, what this is going to do is send a signal from the tail lights of the vehicle to the lights on the trailer to make those function properly. That means your turn signals, your tail lights, and your brake lights. Here's what it looks like installed on our neighbor's car. As you can see, we just have it hooked here by the included dust cap. You could order a couple brackets if you wanted a more permanent installation. But as far as the wiring goes, it's just your standard 4-pole plug that'll hook up to any of your accessories or your trailer. And as I said, it does have that dust cap included to protect it and keep any road debris or corrosion from getting in there. Really, that's about all there is to it. It's something that you're going to need if you want to stay safe and legal while you're towing. If you have any questions about this or any other products that we offer here at eTrailer, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to get you pointed in the right direction. As for the installation, this is a universal kit, so it does involve splicing into your factory wiring. So I'd understand if that's not something you're comfortable with doing yourself. Check out our dealer locator. You can find someone local to you that would be happy to get this set up for you. If you are looking to see how I got this installed, then just follow along and I'll walk you through the process. To begin our installation, we'll be removing our tail light, and there's no way to unplug your wiring and set your tail light aside. So what I did was I just taped some shop rags here just to protect the vehicle because we're going to be hanging the tail light right there. Then we'll go in and pop out this plastic panel. It does help to have a plastic trim tool like this just to make sure you're not going to damage anything. If we pop all these clips out, we should be able to pull this straight back. And get this out of our way. There's going to be a couple of screws behind this. There we go. These will be two 10mm bolts. Get those popped out. And then our taillight's just held in by a couple clips, so I like to wiggle it to try to loosen them up, and then we're going to pull it straight back. It may take some force. It just really depends with these. Sometimes they come out easy. Sometimes they like to fight you. We'll pull it out and just let it lay there, and now we can access our wiring. Now what we did is I had my cameraman Ethan step on the brake and turn the turn signals on and the tail lights just to find out which light is for each function. So our yellow light here, that's going to be our left turn, and I also already tested the passenger side. That one's also going to be yellow. Then the blue wire is our tail light signal, and the red wire is going to be our stop signal. So those are the 3 wires on this side that we're going to be tying into. Now underneath the vehicle, we're going to have to at least partially remove this plastic panel just so we can get access to get our wires up. So there's 2 10mm bolts right here. And then some push pin fasteners, which this one's already popped out for me. There should also be one right there. Back here, there's a 10mm. If we peel this wheel well liner back, there is another hidden push pin fastener. And we'll just use a flathead screwdriver to pop that center out and pull it out. And that should be enough to just at least pull this down so that we can reach up in here and do what we need to do. Now what I did was ran an airline tubing down through our pocket here in our taillight and out that hole we just got access to. And we're going to tape on our white, brown, yellow, and red wires and pull those up through. Once you have those pulled up, we will peel off that tape and start our wiring. We'll start with our white wire, which is our ground wire, because that'll also kind of hold everything up while we're working with it. So I'm just using the included self-tapper with the ring terminal. We can put this anywhere where there's solid metal so we can have a ground. So now we're ready to make our other connections. We'll start with our yellow wire. We're just going to find a spot to cut it. And I did cut back some of the electrical tape that they had here just so I had more wire to work with. We'll strip off both ends of this. I'm going to do it slightly different than what comes with the kit. Your kit will come with some quick connects, but since we're wiring outside the vehicle, that's not what I prefer to do. I would much rather use a heat shrink butt connector just so we can make sure that this wiring lasts longer. It's not going to get corrosion built up. So what we'll do is twist one end of our yellow wire together, slide that butt connector over those two wires. We'll get that crimped down and attached. And then the other end of the wiring will just get crimped into the other end of our butt connector. It is kind of a tight spot, so we'll take some maneuvering to get everything done, but we just want to make sure that we get that connection made properly the first time so we don't have to go through and redo it. Get that crimped down and then give it a nice tug, make sure nothing is loose, and then we'll just repeat that process with our other wires. Now we're back underneath the vehicle. So what we're going to work on is our black wire, which is our power wire. This is what we need to extend to our battery, which luckily is actually right above us. We'll just have to find a way to get there. But I'm extending it out, once again, using a heat shrink butt connector. And crimping that on. And there should be a grommet that we can feed this wiring through in order to get to the battery. And once I figure that out, I will show you. And we'll also be routing our green wire over to the passenger side. And as I said, we're going to splice that in the same way as we did all these wires on the driver's side. And this green wire is going to that yellow wire. So I found a grommet right here where this wiring harness goes into. It was actually quite easy. I used a razor blade, just cut a small slice in it, and then I fed our black wire up there. I already know that's pretty close to where our battery is. So here's where that grommet is located inside the vehicle, right next to the spare tire and pretty close to where our battery, which is good because that's where we're going to end up with it. So I had a bit of slack. I'll just cut that off and strip the end off. And what we'll do is tie in our fuse, which will come just like this, but you'll have to crimp on the ring terminal and on the other end a butt connector. So we'll connect that butt connector to our black wire, and then we can finally connect to our battery. Now we'll connect to our battery from the stud here. So we'll have to take off the 13mm nut. Take off that 13mm nut and then slide our ring terminal over that stud and reinstall the nut. When you're doing this, you want to make sure that the fuse is not already installed in your fuse holder there, because that'll be the last thing we do. One thing that I will mention real quick on the passenger side, I did have to extend this wire out. I just didn't have quite enough. So that's why you see the color change to brown here. I didn't have any green wire laying around, so I used what I had, and we do have wire available here if you don't have any laying around and you want to get this done. And for installing our fuse, we'll just simply line up our fuse with the slots and firmly press it in, and we can close our lid. Now all that's left is to test everything to make sure that it's working properly. I used a 4-pole tester like this, which is available here at eTrailer. Or you could use a test light or just hook up to your trailer. Just whatever you can do to make sure it's functioning properly before you hit the road. And then we just buttoned up our wires. I ran our 4-pole over here, and we'll have it hooked onto our safety cable loop. Other than that, that's going to do it for our look at and installation of the Curt trailer wiring on our 2020 Lexus RX 450H.